Hello guys, this is Stompy King MTG here with my top 5 ETB creatures in black for Commander. Doing my research for this video, I noticed that a lot of black creatures have a lot of ETB effects, and most of them are the same. So with that known, these are my top 5 ETB creatures, and I'm taking into account budget. What cards for my creatures that I chose, I kept in mind both budget for the card and cards that have similar effects, how combo the card is, and also how recurable the effect is. So let's jump on into my number 5 card. Coming in number 5 is Separable Primordial. I'm not entirely sure if I pronounced that correctly, but he costs 5 colors and 2 black. He is an avatar when he enters the battlefield. For each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. He is a 5/4 with Intimidate, so he's a nice body, has a little evasion with Intimidate, but being able to put putting a creature card from each opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control can really swing the odds into your favor. And if you have a haste enabler in some way, you have the ability to swing out with who knows how much damage, extra ETB creatures possibly. All kinds of shenanigans can really take place when you drop this bomb onto the battlefield. Now, he is at the 5 spot due to the fact that he costs 7 mana. Now, there's possibly ways to cheat him out, but honestly, cheating him out early might not be the best, because early game, by cheating him out early, you might miss on some people's graveyards, and also you might not get that great of creatures from people's graveyards due to the fact that they haven't played any bombs yet, or any creature cards that cost low mana that actually take over the game. You might get a Solemn Simulacrum, which card draw and ramp, that's great, but it's not really changing the odds into your favor to win the game no more. It's not really swinging the odds in your favor for the cost that you spent casting this creature and also keeping it in your deck. But the upside of when this thing hits, and it really hits, you can really devastate the board. Some cards with some similar effects are Rise of the Dark Realms, which costs 7 and 2 black, Thrilling Encore, which is 4 and 1 black, or Command the Dread Horde, which is 4 and 2 black. Now, with Thrilling Encore, you can put on the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. It requires a board wipe, so either you have to know a board wipe is coming, or you have to have enough mana to cast the board wipe, then cast Thrilling Encore to get all those creatures onto the battlefield under your control. Which, in the perfect scenario, that would be game changing. You could possibly win the game at that point, but it's so circumstantial, that it's really not that adding that much value to your deck. There's a lot of times where that might just sit in your hand for a while, or possibly the whole game. Command the Dread Horde is nice because you can choose any number of target creature cards and or planeswalker cards in graveyards, and Command the Dread Horde deals damage to you equal to the converted mana cost of those cards and put them on the battlefield under your control. That is great. You can use your life total as a way to really enhance your board state. However, unless you have a win now ability on one of those creatures, or you're really taking control of the game with this card, the fact that you're going to be using your life total to your advantage could also be at your disadvantage, because you're one board wipe away, and then there goes all your life, and everything you spent your life total on is also gone. So, put Rise of the Dark Realms. It is an absolute bomb. It costs 9 mana. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. You can just take over a game playing this card. I mean, it is a sorcery, so it is kind of you're limited to sorcery speed. And the fact that it's a sorcery, if that it ever makes it into your graveyard, it's going to be harder to get it back out, unlike a creature. But with that price tag, according to TCG Player, at $15. It's not really budget friendly, so that's why. So with Primordial having very similar effects to all these cards and being at a TCG player price of $1.76, that's why I put it in my top 5 and why it is at number 5, due to the fact that it can really change the board state and help you take over a game. Coming in at 4 is Grave Titan at 4 colorless and 2 black. He has Death Touch. Whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. This is the most expensive card in my list. Actually made my top 5. However, he really helps amass a nice little army. Can really help amass a nice zombie army, especially in a zombie tribal deck. Now in your deck, if you're using token strategy or a ETB strategy, using Nim's Death Mantle and Ashnod's Altar, accompanied with Grave Titan, is a great way to abuse both token strategies and ETBs. Nim Death Mantle, whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 4 colorless. If you do, return that creature card to the battlefield and attach Nim Death Mantle to it. Ashnod's Altar, sack a creature and add 2 colors to your mana pool. So since Grave Titan enters with 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, you can sack Grave Titan and 1 zombie to Ashnod's Altar, making the 4 colorless. Then, using that 4 colors to pay for Nim Death Mantle's ability cost to bring back Grave Titan, and you can continue this loop, netting 1 zombie each time, creating an infinite number of zombie tokens. Now, if you can add a taxing trigger from an enchantment or another creature that causes damage whenever a creature enters or leaves the battlefield, or if you can add a haste ability to all these zombies, you have a win condition. Coming in at number 3 is Runescarred Demon for 5 colors and 2 black. Has flying. When Runescarred Demon enters the battlefield, search your library for a card. Put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Runescarred Demon made the number 3 spot due to the fact that it is a tutor on a 6/6 flying demon. People always say tutors are like having a second copy of the best card in your deck for each situation. So by playing Runescarred Demon, you can essentially search out the best card for you to either win the game or for your particular situation that you're in during the game to help you out of that situation and get you in the best possible position to win the game. Here are some possible alternatives to Runescarred Demon. Razzaq the Foul-Blooded. It costs 5 and 3 black. Has flying and trample and it's an 8/8. Instead of when it enters the battlefield, it has a pay 2 life, sack another creature, search your library for a card, and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. He has a repeatable effect, so you're allowed to pay 2 life and sack a creature. As long as you have a creature and 2 life to spare, you can search out whatever you need. Diabolic Tutor. 2 and 2 black. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. That is essentially what is written on Runescarred Demon. However, you pay 3 more mana and you get a 6/6 flying demon. You also have Sidisi, the Undead Vizier. 3 colors and 2 black. Has Death Touch and Exploit. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may sack another creature. When Sidisi Undead Vizier exploits a creature, you may search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is essentially the same thing as what Runescarred Demon does, but you do not have to sack a creature for Runescarred Demon. But in certain strategies, Sidisi Undead Vizier has a sack outlet, also feeds into certain deck strategies, thus helping keeping the theme. Coming in at number 2 is Shriek Maul. Costs 4 and 1 black. Has Fear. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. When Shriek Maul enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. It has an evoke cost of 1 and 1 black. You may cast a spell for its evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield. Shriek Maul is my number 2 due to its ability to not only pay its regular mana cost, but its evoke cost. Having that flexibility to both play it in the early game, really useful, especially in certain strategies, whether it's early or late game. The ability to play a creature and have it die or sacrificed right after you play it plays into sack strategies. Or if you have Dictative Erebos out, you can play him for his evoke cost, destroy one creature when it's sacrificed. Therefore, your opponent has to sacrifice a creature. Each opponent has to sacrifice a creature. Some cards with some similar effects. Necrotal, 2 colors and 2 black. First strike, when Necrotal enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature that can't be regenerated. It's a 2/1. What gives Shriek Maul the edge over Necrotal is the evoke cost. The flexibility of the evoke cost is unmatched compared to 2 and 2 black of Necrotal. Next up is Cast Down, 1 and a black, destroy target non-legendary creature. Now commanders are legendary, but destroying a non-legendary creature is great at instant speed for 1 and a black, since most cards in the 99 are probably not legendary creatures. Overseer of the Damned, 5 and 2 black, flying. When Overseer of the Damned enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature. Overseer of the Damned, you get to destroy whatever kind of creature you want, as long as it's not indestructible, and you'll end up getting a 2/2 black zombie, 2/2 black zombie token out of it, as long as it wasn't a token that you destroyed. The added value of getting that token whenever an opponent's creature dies is that value should not go unnoticed. However, the mana cost, and at this spot here at number 2, I just felt that Shriek Maul's value and ability to fit in any deck, no matter the theme, can both doubling as a pseudo instant kill, destroy target creature, no matter your mana cost situation, compared to Overseer of the Damned just outvalues it. Next up is Murder, 1 and 2 black, destroy target creature. I slot this into almost every deck that has black in it. At instant speed, destroy target creature. For 1 and 2 black, sign me up. However, it does not matter whether it's artifact, yada yada, token, but the recurability of Shriek Maul being a creature, and whether you're casting it from your graveyard, pulling it out of the graveyard, putting it back into your hand, it's much easier to get creatures out of your graveyard in black than it is sorceries and instants. Coming in at number 1 is Puppeteer Click, 3 and 2 black, has flying. When Puppeteer Click enters the battlefield, put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste at the beginning of your next end step. Exile it. He also has Persist. When this creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Puppeteer Click is my number 1 because 1, the budget of $1.17 according to TCG Player. Also, the Persist ability. Persist allows so many combos. The ability to negate that -1 counter on it and use it multiple times with a sack outlet and steal everyone's stuff from their graveyards. Talk about making a big play by stealing people's creatures from their own graveyard, especially if they have an ETB. So here are some potential combo pieces to use with Puppeteer Click. Birthing Pod costs 3 and a Phyrexian, which you can pay with green or 2 life. And pay 1 and a Phyrexian and sack a creature. Search your library for a creature card for the mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's mana cost. So you play Puppeteer Click, steal someone else's creature, potentially with ETB, use the ETB, then sack the creature to Birthing Pod and get one of your own creatures to put on the battlefield. Or you can use Puppeteer Click and Altar of Dementia. Altar of Dementia costs 2 colors. Sack a creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. Steal their creature, attack with it, use its ETB, do whatever you need to, then sack it before the end of turn.